Hey guys, welcome to the Beginner's Mind podcast where everyone is a beginner. My name is Marcus Kongman and today we have two very special guests. Both of these men have competed in the powerlifting scene for over how many years?
Around four to
4 years.
4 to 5 years.
Yeah. And these guys are brothers, so they've competed in the powerlifting scene for 4 years. They've broken national records. They've competed in the regional and national
level.
regional and national competitions, and both of them are really one of the pioneers, or really um, one of the best powerlifters here in Cebu. Welcome, help me welcome my guests, Ryant and Maki. Relos.
Hey guys.
Hello.
So, how old are you again?
I am 26 years old and
I'm 21.
21. So these guys are very young. So I can't wait to dissect, their minds, learn more about powerlifting, and also to help educate you guys on powerlifting if ever you are interested in learning or even just competing. So again, you guys started 4 years ago,
around 2017.
2017.
6 years.
6 years.
But of course, ikaw, you were the one who first started
Oh yeah,
first.
I started. Oh no,
Together.
Together.
No, we worked out, then we strictly trained for powerlifting
Mm-mm.
at the same time.
2017.
2017.
I was 15 years old back then. I was 19.
19.
But what was your first, for example, for me, of course, I started doing the conventional gym, bodybuilding, and something like that. So for you, of course, what was your starting point?
I was really a sprinter before.
A sprinter.
So I like sprinting and running, and I incorporated strength training
Mm-mm.
in my workouts.
Mm.
So I noticed that during my training, I progressed too fast in, like, for example, the squat and
Yeah.
deadlift. So I wondered, what if I try competing in powerlifting, maybe I can win.
Mm.
So I tried training for like 2 months, and after that, I joined the regional competition.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I won the regional competition
Mm-mm.
by training for only 2 months in
2 months
powerlifting.
only. And then for you, how did it start? Like for Ryan, started sprinting, running. For you, how did it start? Or you just really followed his lead, looking at your brother, Merg,
It was like we were like sports inclined
Ah,
ever
okay,
since.
that's good.
So like we had a 9-pound dumbbell in the house.
Mm.
I always carry it. I think it was around, I wasn't allowed to go to the gym yet when I was 12. And then when I reached 14,
Yeah.
I was allowed now. So like I started working out, lifting weights. Then I
Uh-uh.
got 15. I reached 15. Then he started powerlifting. I started powerlifting also.
Mm.
Then after that, he joined regionals first. Then
Mm.
after regionals was nationals. So we both joined nationals. Then I got first place, and he got second, I think.
Second.
Yeah, second. First nationals.
Yeah.
My national.
I forgot to mention, Ryan is a physical therapist, and Maki is also still on his journey
Student.
to become student and physical therapist. So these guys have the knowledge, the right information. So when it comes to training, I'm sure it really helps having the
Yes.
right
Background.
background. Diba? But do you think it's necessary to have physical therapist, or maybe you can just learn from the internet, or
Yeah. You can actually learn in the internet, but
Mm.
advantage if
physical therapist?
physical therapist or sports scientist, because you'll learn the basic anatomy. Like, for example, when benching, you can't bench like this because this is the mechanism of injury for
Yeah.
your shoulder
Yeah.
joint.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in MMA, the Kimura lock,
Yeah.
So you don't do that in
Bench.
benching. So you do this.
Mm-mm.
So you'll know the
Or body
basics.
mechanics.
The basics, yeah. So these guys have the right information, the right knowledge. So let's dissect what they have to give, what information they have to give. So basically, for those viewers who do not know anything about powerlifting, what is powerlifting?
Powerlifting is a sport which requires you to which requires you 3 disciplines, right?
Mhm.
So squatting, benching, and deadlifting. So in squatting, it's just what you see in the gym. People
Back squat, right?
Yeah, back squat,
Back squat.
barbell squat. Then bench is what you normally see when like footballers,
Mhm.
NFL, like the NFL challenge.
Yeah.
Then deadlift is just pick up the bar from the floor.
Mm-mm.
Generally speaking, though.
So there are three basic movements. You have the bench press, deadlift,
And
squat. So those are the three basic movements in the powerlifting competition.
yes.
Okay. So for you, when you get started, like, did you see a major difference in your physical capacity, or did when you started bodybuilding, when you started powerlifting, did you notice any subtle changes to your strength, or of course your strength, but like in terms of your day-to-day activities, do you notice a difference? Like, for example, diba, of course, we bring groceries and all that.
Yeah.
So was there a major change?
I think yes,
Mm.
because like for example, um, we have a TV shop before, like surplus TV shop appliances. Then when I started powerlifting, I can help my the workers before
Ah.
the workers carry stuff like refrigerators.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like I know I'm stronger than them. Like, because I know how to lift things.
Yeah.
Like for example, in deadlift, I know how to do the
Yeah.
techniques and lifting weights. Whereas them, they lift it using their
Their,
backs.
yeah, so their back is bending.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
know.
major issue, guys. So in powerlifting, for you, with what you've learned, what are really the, as a beginner who's interested in doing powerlifting, what are really the major factors, or what are the major things they should really look into first before, trying out the sport? Let's say me, as a person, I'm quite lanky as a person. Uh, Strength-wise, I guess I'm okay, but like when I started, I also did not. I'm not familiar with technique and all that. Mind-muscle connection. I know those are major factors. So, for the beginners out there, like, what do you think are the first steps they should take before really trying out powerlifting?
I think you have to build general strength first, so do
Mhm.
body weight exercises
Mhm.
before you can even touch the weight.
Mm-mm.
So if you can't even like do a pull up,
Yeah, that's true.
just for me start with calisthenics first, then try to master your own body, like, and always do stretching, because powerlifting requires you crazy
Mobility.
amount of mobility and flexibility to perform the movement. So for beginners, I recommend be able to do a push up first, maybe at least like 30,
Mm-mm. 30
and proper
push-ups.
form, and a pull up,
At
and
least 10, or doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter.
doesn't really
Doesn't
matter.
matter because pull-up is really hard.
Yeah.
At least like 5 maybe.
At least 5. Okay. What about in terms of your lower extremities, like your hips, diba? That plays a major role also, diba, when you're squatting. So,
Like just do for beginners, make sure you have a good hip mobility and ankle mobility, and you can do a proper squat without even touching the bar. So because if you have bad mobility and you put weight on the bar, you might end up injuring yourself. So yeah, you stretch first, you master your body first, master the body weight squat before touching the barbell.
let's say for me, like let's say I'm already familiar with my own body weight and all that. So now I'm gonna proceed to trying powerlifting. So what are let's say I can already start using the bar. What are the major factors that I should keep in mind, like technique or, yeah?
I think you should learn how to use your core,
That's
like
brace,
Bracing your
brace your
core.
core,
bracing your
and
core.
the proper technique in squatting, like for example, like tightening your back muscles. So it's not only the legs, it's a full body exercise. So for example, you put the barbell behind your back, so you tighten your upper back, you brace your core, and you feel your legs as you go down. Then as you go down, you feel the stretch reflex. So when you hit the bottom position, there is a stretch reflex. You hit it, and it will automatically go up. Yes.
So yeah,
You have to master the movement.
also, I think another thing, as a beginner, like let's say I have no experience in exercising, mind muscle connection also very important. Like,
Yeah.
for example, when you say brace, I'm sure these people, some of the viewers don't know how to brace, diba? So it's also really a matter of practice, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And also doing your own research. Of course, these guys are jacked, but for us, for example, like people who are just starting out, they have no muscle mass. Does muscle mass really matter in powerlifting?
50-50.
50-50?
Muscle mass. because in powerlifting, how you lift the weight, your anatomy matters, right? So some
Yeah.
have long arms, some
Yeah.
have short femurs. I have a long femur, so when I squat, really like takes time for me to go down.
Yeah.
But for people who have
Or
like
short.
short femurs, when they squat, they just go up right away.
Yeah.
And for some
Same
people,
thing with the deadlift.
yeah,
Deadlift.
Like shorter people and longer arms tend to lift heavier weights
Yeah.
because of the leverage.
Mm,
Like
okay.
for example, taller people with shorter arms, it will travel a lot longer than
Yeah.
short people.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So it doesn't matter if the shorter guy is a lot smaller than the bigger guy.
That's true. So, it's really 50-50, like,
Yeah.
but I guess it's as long as you put in the training, that's what really matters, no? You knowing your own body and then
Mm.
just adapt to the weight na lang or to the exercise, right? So, again, we already have the 3 basic lifts of powerlifting: the bench, the squat, and the deadlift. Now, let's say as a beginner now is already starting to use the weights or the bar. How do you usually program this? How do you usually structure the program? Let's say I'm your client, you're coaching me. I have no knowledge in powerlifting, or I'm just starting. So how would you coach a beginner, let's say?
I'm gonna try to strengthen the client first.
Mm-mm.
Then after, when the client builds enough strength,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna try to build muscle memory.
Mm-mm.
Like for example, the client needs to hit depth on squat, so
Mm.
he needs to hit a very deep squat. So eventually, if the weights get heavier, so there will be a muscle memory that he will hit depth. Like not for like some ego lifters, for example, they
Yeah.
squat like three fourth of a rep.
And then their back is like that,
Yeah.
and their form is like,
Yes.
Yeah, but it's really heavy.
yeah. But is that a normal thing
That's
in
their muscle memory.
muscle memory?
So they don't know how. They have no proprioception to go down.
Yeah.
They don't know how. So you teach the client how to go down in the squat.
Mm.
So
Now,
it becomes muscle memory.
so yes, now you're training the client already with the 3 basic movements, no? Do you add any additional accessory work? Let's say, like bicep curl or whatever, because
Mobilities.
mobility.
Yeah, mobility movements. So aside from the squatting, benching, deadlifting, there's a lot of accessories that can supplement your main lifts. So let's say a front squat, it requires your ankle mobility, strong posterior chain, your lower back, your
Yeah.
core, your whole core. So yeah, that's for squat. Then for benching, do isolation work. So when some people bench, one side will go up first.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And for deadlifting, you have to have really strong core so that you don't injure your spine.
Yeah, that's true. So when you speak about isolation training, that's just basically focusing on one side, right?
Yeah.
Like
side.
focusing, like, say, because of course, like us, right? If I'm a right-handed, normally my left hand is weak, right? So isolation training is just basically focusing on the weaker side. How do you focus on the weaker side? Do it together or just really focus on this side?
So isolating. So in my part, my bench press is always imbalanced. So my right side is stronger, my left side is not very strong. So I do like dumbbell works. Dumbbell work. So I go heavier weight in my left.
Oh,
So because every time I join competitions, like for example, I'm breaking the national records. So my body will automatically autopilot. So
Yeah.
my right is stronger. It's gonna go like that.
You're gonna matwist.
Oh, matwist
Yeah.
jud siya.
Yeah.
Oh. So sige jud kog strengthen sa
Left.
left side.
Yeah. So now a question regarding the bench press. Why do power lifters, why do I always see those videos where they really arch their
Arch,
back?
yeah.
What is the purpose of that when they do the bench press? For me, I kind of understand, but not fully.
To shorten the range of motion.
Because they're like that.
But now
Mm.
it's
But that's in competition, no?
yeah, but competition only.
For the arc. But when you train, you don't arc.
We arc also.
You arc also.
But then they didn't allow it anymore now
Why?
because it's
Some
considered as
some
cheating.
girls like really flexible. Just
So it's
yeah.
short, so it touches already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So it
That's
defeats
the-
purpose.
that's the reason for the arching of the back, guys. Shorter distance to the
Yeah.
for the bar, to reach your chest. Actually, I never knew that women competed in powerlifting.
Oh,
There,
they do. Yeah, they do.
There's a lot.
there's a lot here in the Philippines.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Actually, all over the world. It's very, very famous sport also. So now that we've already, let's say, we've structured the program in terms of your scheduling, how does that work? Like, give us an example of like, let's say, a week, or let's say, I know there's periodization, right? You know, you increase the weights over time, but powerlifting is also different. Let's say, give me an example of how would you structure your, let's say, what's the ideal time frame when it comes to really to increase the strength of your lifts? What's the ideal timeline, and how do you adjust that?
So in my programming,
Uh,
so for example, I squat Mondays, squat and bench press. So Tuesday I do bench press again and deadlifts.
mm,
And Wednesday I usually rest to recover. And Thursday I do deadlifts again. Then Friday you do squat and bench again. So you can usually bench 3 to 4 times a week
mm,
since it's fast to recover.
yeah.
But for me I don't deadlift more than 2 times a week because it's very fatiguing
Fatiguing.
in the
Yeah.
CNS.
Yeah,
central
and
nervous
for you,
system.
same also.
Same lang.
Same
Yeah.
lang. Or it depends if you guys are on competition.
No,
Of
that's
course,
for generally speaking.
generally
Yeah, but when
speaking.
you're in a higher level, it's different.
Mm-mm.
The
Sige,
structuring is like it's
Like,
if
yeah.
you go
complicated.
too deep. Yes.
Ah.
Some people deadlift once a week, some
Yeah.
2 times.
Sige, let's talk about that later. So now that, let's say, you have your sample, you have your sample program, right? The program that you gave me. Now, how would it work over time? Let's say, how long usually ang isa ka program? 6 weeks, 4 weeks,
For
4 weeks.
4 weeks. So 4 weeks, same program.
Yeah. It's we divided into 3 parts. So hypertrophy,
Mm.
then gaining strength, moderate, then
peaking.
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 Yeah.
So
That's
usually,
the-
like, what's the timeline for, say, example, hypertrophy? Is that on the first week, or how long does that work?
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah. It's like
Hypertrophy?
3 blocks.
Hypertrophy.
Block 1 is like hypertrophy. Block 2 is like strength gain. Then block 3 is peaking.
So medyo the time frame is really long,
Yeah, very long.
very long. So let's say you're gonna do block 1 hypertrophy. How long? That's 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Let's say I finish the 4 weeks. Do I automatically transfer to block 2, or is there a transition first? Do I have to recover my body?
The transition is you lower the volume. For example, in
Mm.
hypertrophy phase, the rep ranges would be
Higher reps,
8 to
right?
15.
8 to
Yeah.
15. Yeah.
So transition to gaining strength around 10 reps or 5 reps, 5 to 10.
That's on the block 2.
Yeah,
The
block
strength.
So for the block 3, you're
Peak
getting ready
1,
for a
2
competition.
reps, 3 reps.
1, 2 reps. And very heavy reps.
Mm-mm. Wait, they don't know what hypertrophy is.
Oh, yeah.
What is hypertrophy training?
Hypertrophy is when you build muscle.
Mm.
Build muscle.
Volume.
Yeah. So really, depending on what phase you are, it really dictates how much reps you're gonna do, how much sets, no?
Yes.
Yeah. So for example, in the hypertrophy phase, we're doing 12 to 15 reps.
Yeah,
10 to
somewhere
15.
around
10 to
there.
15 somewhere.
10 to 15 reps, no? And then how many sets usually? 3, 4?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. And then when we reach the strength phase, that's 3
3 by 3.
3 by 3, 5 by 5 pwede.
Triples, doubles.
Oh no, 5 by 5
No.
usually sa block 2.
Oh, that's block. Oh, sorry. In block 2, yeah. So we're in block 2 now. Usually it's around that rep range, no?
Yeah.
That's so that at least the viewers can have a number, at least a guide, no, when it comes to doing these lifts. So again, block 2, a bit more lower volume, heavier weight,
Slightly heavier weight.
slightly heavier
Higher
weight,
intensity.
higher intensity. Is there still time for accessory work like that? No.
Yes, there's still.
There's
still-
always time for accessory work.
Do you ever sidetrack lang? But do you guys ever do like isolate? Those leg curls, those type of exercises, no?
Actually, yes, because it
But that's on the phase 1, no?
yeah.
Cause-
Sometimes we do it in the final phase.
Ah,
because,
really?
Like for example, we have like injuries, so you need to isolate the
Yeah, that's true. Because you're targeting the specific
yeah,
area.
something.
Okay. Now in the phase 3, competition phase, or even if not competition, right, they can follow this
Yeah, yes.
this style or this program. So let's say in phase 3 now, it's a bit heavier weight na. Rep range is
Around 2 to 2, sometimes 1.
2 to 1. So 2 to 1. What about the recovery time in between sets? Like we're in the hypertrophy phase. What's the usual? It's usually 1 minute 30, 2 minutes, right? Or what's
Depends, like 5 minutes.
5 minutes for hypertrophy also?
5 to 8.
5 to 8. That's long day, no?
Yeah.
What about for the phase 2? Same.
Same.
Much long. You need much longer.
It's kind of the same because if you rush the rest, then your form will be affected.
Okay, that's true. And now, okay, we have the program structure. Even if you're not competing, you can follow this way of programming. If you're interested in powerlifting, just contact the brothers. They can help you out in your programming. So now that we have the program down, what about your supplementation? How is diet? What is the diet like? How do you eat? How do you recover?
Basically, just get enough protein.
Hmm.
Like protein is
Key.
protein is key. You have to recover. So without protein, you might feel sluggish the next training session.
Mm.
And also carbs.
Carbs, yeah.
And hitting your macros.
Yeah.
is the most important thing.
That's true.
And taking your vitamins like
for the joints,
bone,
no?
joints,
Fish oil.
fish oil,
Fish
vitamin
oil.
C,
Fish oil.
Vitamin D for the
nerves.
Nerves.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got the supplementation down. Well, in terms of diet, that really depends on the person. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not everyone has their own. There's not really one specific diet that's all around. So it depends on the person. You just have to really find out what's best for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, now that we have the diet, the supplementation, we have the program. Now, in terms of recovery, do you guys do anything in recovery? Stretching help? Does doing any external stuff, like, let's say for me, example, I train jiu-jitsu, right? So sometimes training is hard, or I'm training for a fight. So I do ice baths sometimes, so that helps. Sometimes I do sauna just to relieve the stress. So do you guys do anything?
Ice bath sometimes.
Ice baths.
Cardio.
Cardio. Oh yeah, that one. Do you guys do cardio also?
Yeah. We do cardio to increase blood flow.
Okay. But how does that fit into the program? Like
on rest days.
on rest days, but not hard cardio, just
normal
light
Slow
lang.
intensity, no?
So mostly running.
Running.
I've seen you do Muay Thai, I think, right?
Yeah, that was before us competing.
Okay. So so actually it's really a mix of everything. Just have to find the right balance. So cardio is important, diet, supplementation is important, and having the right program structure is important. So, okay, now that we have everything, for you guys, of course, Ryant is already a PT. For you, Maki, how do you balance studying and training? Let's say we have some people who are students, right? And they want to also start powerlifting. They want to start working out. So how do you incorporate training into your school life?
So school life,
What's your usual school day like? And then just give us a sample of your day of school and then training sample.
okay, so I wake up early.
5:30?
No, not 5. like 6, because we have a dog.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to walk the dog and stuff. So it gets my mind like set
Ready.
for the day. So I go to school like around mga 8, then finish around 5. The thing is, like, people, they want to start something, right? But they don't know how to start, and they don't know when to start. But you just have to start.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it. And some people just like, they're not consistent, right? They prioritize not really important things. Example, like after school,
Dota, video games, or whatever.
like CDU, right? I go to CDU. It's a school in Mandaue. So in front of our school, there's like a drinking place. Yeah.
Nice.
While I'm like there after school, I go home, then I train. And imagine, like, my day is very productive. Like, I train, right?
Yeah.
And they're out there like horsing around, and I'm working hard.
How old are you again?
21.
21, guys. What are you doing? What the Look at these guys, very disciplined at very young age, man. So, take inspiration from these guys if you're interested in powerlifting or even just really taking care of yourself. So that's your usual But of course, I know there are some days where
Yeah.
I feel sluggish. So, are you guys hard on yourself? Like, I have to
Yeah.
train right now. Are you that, or sometimes like I'll just take a break now? Or,
No.
what's it like for you guys?
And I never had a break
Oh?
ever in my life or workout.
No breaks, guys.
Yeah, I actually have a story. Like during the pandemic, we didn't have a gym,
Yeah,
so like we didn't have anything to do. So me and my brother would work out the whole day,
yeah.
like the whole day. So we didn't have weights, nothing to
Just body
stimulate our
weight,
muscles.
calisthenics.
Yeah, we would run, then do like push-ups.
Yeah.
You do squats.
Yeah.
I would ride his back, do push-ups. Yeah.
See, and these guys are brothers, so it's like one of them in the movies, going to war. Actually, even during the pandemic, that's when I really started. I bought gymnastic rings. That was for me. Gymnastic rings really good equipment
Yeah.
for really just gaining upper body strength. I learned the muscle up with the gymnastic ring. So you see, like with no equipment, even they both can push themselves, even just with body weight. So there's no excuses, guys. It's all in the mind. Okay, now so we've talked already about the program. Your supplementation. Um, what do you think are the common misconceptions when it comes to powerlifting? For example, I'm pretty sure you've heard this before. I'll speak it in Bisaya, but because it's always in Bisaya. Ayun, mag-alsa kay mamubo ka ng dili ka mo grow. You're not don't like before when you were still a kid or you wanted to try lifting or weights, don't lift it because you're not gonna grow. Is that true? No.
Actually, it's been done on research. It helps you grow.
Mm.
Like for example, Arnold Schwarzenegger. He started working out around 15, 14,
15, 14.
and he grew up to be 6 footer. So it really depends on your genetics.
Genetics.
Yeah.
Genetics really do play a
Yeah.
big part in your.
Like some white people
Mm-mm.
started like around 13 because in the US or other countries, other schools have strength programs.
Mhm.
Like it's only in the Philippines that we have no strength program. Like for
Basket.
example, basket,
Basket
only
or
solid strength program.
soccer.
Yeah,
Like for example, their soccer players do squats, like barbell squats
Yeah.
with weights. But here, I don't see anyone doing
Yeah.
strength.
So,
trainings.
do you think the Philippines as a country, it sort of lacks that type of
Yeah.
training, no? Tapulan mo na yan.
I think we're behind. Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of a disadvantage also.
Yeah, it's kind of a disadvantage. Because when I look at the other countries, let's say, for example, Russia, for sure, like crazy programs for their youth, no? In terms of training, especially powerlifting or any other China, right?
Lifting.
These crazy programs that they give to the kids or to the youth, it really does show because look at they have so many champions, and here in our
Same thing sa US.
champion ang tag. Drinking is our sport here.
Same
But
thing
in
sa
the
US. Like in the NFL, mga high schoolers nila, they're like so strong. They
Yeah.
bench press around 300 plus.
Mm-mm.
Then later on, they become like powerlifting world
World
champions.
champions, yeah. That's true. So really, he just debunked that myth. So again, it's not true. Okay, you guys can start lifting early, but of course, it has to be under supervision. Right? Make sure that you have the right techniques,
Coach.
right coach, right technique, right coach, and just enjoy the lift. Like there's no rush in really pushing yourself. Enjoy and just work out. What do you think are the other common misconceptions besides that one? The size does not matter, right?
Yeah.
The size does not matter. Your muscle mass does not matter for powerlifting, right?
Yeah. Like some guys, very big arms, very big chest. But then you wonder this smaller guy is stronger than him,
Yeah.
can push more weight.
Mm-mm.
Depends on the muscle density and quality of the muscle.
Mm.
So when you do bodybuilding style of training, for example, 20 reps, it's gonna grow the muscle.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's a different style of training to strengthen your muscle. So their strength and size is not the same.
So again, listen, guys. Any other like shocking thing that you've heard now? Like, but basically, I think more those are the. But the usual one is really don't lift because you're not gonna grow. That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that's really the
It's
typical.
not true.
It's not true, right?
Come on,
So
bro. Bad for the knees, food. Bad for the
bad
knees.
for the knees.
Yeah.
Actually, it's healthy for your knees.
To lift,
Yeah.
right?
Strengthens your knees also.
Yeah. Of course, with the proper technique.
Oh yeah.
When someone is interested or doing powerlifting, are there any necessary accessories to have? Like, because I noticed they have the strap on, the brace, the knee brace. So is that really a necessary for them?
For a beginner, no.
No.
But if you're like an elite powerlifter,
Mm.
you will really need them.
What are some of the accessories needed?
Knee sleeves.
Mm.
So you put
And
the knee
what
sleeves.
what do the accessories do for the person?
Like for example, knee sleeves. It helps you bounce at the bottom. So there's like a reflex in the bottom. And for example, wraps.
Wrist wraps.
Wrist straps.
So it helps you stabilize your
Wrist.
hand wrist joint. So for example, if you're lifting heavy weight, it's gonna shake. So you put wrist wrap, a thick wrist wrap, so it won't shake. It's external
Stabilizes.
stabilizer.
Yeah, okay. What about weight belt?
A weight belt also. It
Intra-abdominal pressure.
Mm.
So like, there's an analogy I saw. I don't know if you follow Squat University.
I follow Squat
Yeah, so
University.
if you shake a bottle of Coke, soda, it hardens, right? When you step on it, it doesn't break. But when you don't shake it, as compared to like the soda pop, like not touch, when you step on it, it breaks.
Yeah.
So same thing with bracing. If you brace your core, it's like the soda being shaken, like it's about to explode, right? So you build stabilization to your core.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so,
the belt helps also
the belt
to really squeeze in.
yeah, squeeze in.
Okay. So those were the only those accessories needed. I think no.
yeah.
So those are the necessary accessories needed for high performing already. For if you're gonna be competitive athletes. But as a beginner, I guess you don't really need it as now. Because of course you want to focus on technique and building up the strength. What are the common mistakes you feel like as someone who's trying out powerlifting? What are the common issues that they, of course, number one, ego lift, that's normal, right?
Yeah.
So for you, like you've been in the scene, you've been in the industry for a while. What do you think are the common mistakes you see a beginner do when trying out powerlifting?
I think rushing the progress. Like for example, comparing themselves to someone. Like for example, this guy wants to be strong as this guy. So this guy follows this guy's weights, but this guy's form is not as good as this guy's form. Yeah. So eventually, this guy will get injured. Yeah.
Well, the other
Sometimes
guy
ego plays a lot sa injury.
Yeah, that's
So when you train, make sure that you have no ego. Drop your ego, master your form. Um, don't mind anyone. If this guy is stronger than you, don't mind him. Master your form, because if you try to chase someone, you'll end up injuring yourself, or you'll end up getting disappointed. Yeah.
So number one, drop your ego.
drop your ego. Yeah.
Compete with yourself. Don't compete
Yeah.
with others, right? And for you, what else do you think? Common mistakes as a beginner. Of course, Nindot, it's good for you because both of you are PTs, and then both of you are brothers, so you guys are side by side most of the time. These guys are like the Tate brothers, man. So, like, how do you, what do you think are the common mistakes that
For
you've
me, I think
noticed?
it's like consistency mostly.
Mm.
But for like high performing athletes, it's very easy to be consistent because it's
Yeah.
embedded in them. But
Yeah.
for
Beginners,
people,
like,
yeah,
no
beginners,
background.
They start like a program, then they expect to perform the same
Yeah.
the next week without putting in the real work. It's like doing a self talk, but
Yeah.
no real work. So the self talk is useless if
Yeah.
it's not backed up by real work. So yeah,
So you really have
Consistency.
consistency, and you have to be patient also, right? So okay, now we have that common mistakes, ego, competing with others. What about technique? Like, do you see any beginners like have example, like you see a beginner, right? Like wrong technique and all that. So how do
Yeah.
you deal with that?
So if you're a beginner, you want to start something, so you need to do your research.
That's
Like
true.
for example,
Research.
benching with 90 degrees will get you injured. So you must know how to bench press first.
Mm-mm.
So some people do this to shorten the range of motion, but in fact, this will injure you. So you need to do some research.
Okay, so again, research your exercises, research the proper technique.
Yeah, and
So
also drop your ego.
drop your ego,
Again.
because I really think that's number one. Because
That's number one.
also for me, when I started just working out, I started trying bodybuilding. I can do this. In the end, I got injured. My shoulder hurt. So um, injuries are common when you have ego, right?
Yeah.
For you guys as powerlifters, what are the common injuries that you've faced, and how did you recover from that,
Go.
mentally and physically? Because I know when you get injured, right? I have to start from scratch na sad. I have to go back to zero, right? So it's also a mental aspect and also a physical aspect. So how do you guys deal with injuries, and how do you recover from that?
So for me, I was actually injured L4, L5 bulge disc back when I was 17. So the tip we gave just a while ago, drop your ego. So I was very egotistical when I was 17. Yeah, so I was the only one lifting, right,
Yeah.
in my age group. So I would show off, like I would pick up 315, then with really bad form, I would rep it out. Yeah.
Mm.
And I got injured. And after I got injured,
It's rehab.
no, not rehab right away. After I got injured, I worked out again. Then I injured myself more.
Mm.
Yeah, so I got admitted to the hospital. Yeah, so when I was admitted to the hospital, I realized that I had to drop down my ego. That's when I really like started training properly.
Mm.
So I had to learn the hard way. So you can learn like two ways: easy way, hard way.
Yeah.
So if you
So,
don't drop your ego, then you're gonna learn the hard way.
so why do you have to go the hard way, guys? There are easy ways to learn. So, but like it's part of everyone's journey. Sometimes you learn the easy way, hard way. But for me, I really believe that when injuries happen, it's really a wake up call for you. Also, like, hey, you gotta focus on different aspects of your training. So injuries are normal, guys. Don't be discouraged. How about the mental aspect?
Mental aspect, like it affects me as a person because last regionals when I was aiming to break the national record,
Mm-mm.
my knees got injured.
Mm.
So
Squat?
yeah.
Mm-mm.
My knees got injured. I don't know how it got injured. Maybe accumulated like fatigue or overuse.
Mm-mm.
So I couldn't squat like 80% of my max. So it affected me in my day to day in my work because I kept thinking how can I compete with injured knee. So I decided to deload on my squat.
Mm-mm.
So I focused more on my bench press and my deadlift.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So yeah, I I didn't perform very good in squat. So it affects you mentally actually because
You
people
feel
will
Expect.
expect more from you,
Mm.
but no, you shouldn't care about people's thoughts about you. Focus on yourself.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, again, injuries are very normal, especially for high performing athletes, and that's what the purpose is. That's really the purpose of really starting right, doing the right things in the beginning, so that in the end, you're the lesser risk of injury. No? So now we have the common injuries. Let's talk about your journey as powerlifting, your competitive, when you started competing. What was it like when you first started competing? Especially for you, it was you only trained 2 months,
Yeah.
and this was for regional or
Regionals.
just like a local lang,
Local, regional.
regional.
Yeah.
So what was it like after you're like, oh shit,
So
like
I was so I was so hyped, bro. So
Uh-huh.
like I decided to join the nationals thinking I can win right
Mm.
away. Training in less than like, around 4 months.
But when you did the regional, you were like,
Like,
were you
you're-
expecting like, oh, I'm gonna be champ or
Oh, no,
no,
no.
you're just like, okay, let's just lift the
Yeah.
weight.
Then surprisingly I became a champion.
Mm.
So 2 months after that was the nationals. So I joined national. So I placed second.
Mm-mm.
So it was very disappointing. And the next year I joined nationals again.
Same competition.
Yeah. I placed second again.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Then I kept on placing second. I don't know. It's like a curse when I
Yeah.
joined nationals.
Yeah.
I always place second. So I trained very hard. I decided to join the 2022 nationals. Again, I placed second.
Mm-mm.
It's so bad. I keep placing second.
Yeah.
So this year, surprisingly, this year
First.
I won national champion.
Well
and-
done. Easy work.
Yeah. And I was awarded as the best powerlifter in the Philippines.
See, so really, I think a lot of people tend to
Yeah.
they don't they don't know what's behind the scenes.
They don't know like the pain behind it.
They don't know the pain that
Yeah.
us athletes go through. They just tend to look at the victory. So all of us athletes, we go through a lot of struggle, and it's a lot of mental and physical also. And for you, like, how did you start? Like, what was your first competition like?
First competition. It's actually funny because I borrowed the belt of my opponent, then I won against him. Yeah. But
But
after that, like
when was this? Like
2017,
2017.
it's the first competition ever.
Mm-mm.
And after that, I kept like praising bronze. That was the first year was like my golden year because I joined the under 18 category, under 18, sub junior.
Mm-mm.
Then when I reached junior, like wala na. But I broke records, like the bench press national record. So
Mm-mm.
yeah, in college I have the bench press record in
Which
the
is
whole
how much?
Philippines. 122.5 kg.
Oh, 1 to 2.5 kg. 1 to 2.5 kg.
Yeah,
So,
but I actually choked in that competition, so
mm-mm.
I didn't really post it in my like social media. I was disappointed. The people were like congratulating me, but in my head, like there's nothing to congratulate me
Yeah.
for. Like I'm not satisfied.
Yeah, that's very normal actually, in being an athlete. So now, any upcoming competitions?
For me, it's the Southeast Asia Championship this September.
Mm.
So I'm aiming to win the first gold medal for Philippines in the under 74
Let's go.
category. Gory.
Let's go. So guys, check out his social media.
So I'm gonna be against the former
Second placer.
silver medalist, world silver medalist from
Yeah.
Singapore.
Yeah.
So
See?
I'll try to beat him. I'll
Guys.
try.
Try, but of course, with the proper training, of course, we believe in our countrymen, and he's gonna be representing our country at where is it gonna be, at Singapore?
No, Philippines.
Philippines.
is the host.
Okay, this year. So it depends also.
Yeah.
Last year was Malaysia.
Malaysia. And then for you, any plans on
November.
November
Still
also?
nationals. Another nationals.
Mm-mm. Okay, now that we've talked about your upcoming competitions, the whole competition, the competition scene. Now, how does the competition work? I've researched a bit and kind of confused. Like, it one set only. That's why, like, I'm kind of confused. But how does the competition? What does a competition day look like,
Sequence.
and the sequence, and how do you get the points, right? Because there are points, right? So how does that work?
So it's usually you do squat, bench, and deadlift, and the first lift is squat.
Mm-mm.
So you lift the heaviest. For example, your opponent will lift 200. You need to lift 210 to be ahead of him. So they will need to add your squat, bench, and deadlift. For example, 10, 10, 10. So your total lift is 30. So your opponent, for example, 15, 10, 15.
So he wins.
So he wins.
Mm.
Yeah. So you don't focus on one lift. You focus on the
Everything.
total.
But is that like one-on-one, or how is it like in one category? Like, that's just how many people will participate.
Depends. Like for example, the nationals, there's like 40 people in our category.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
it's paired, Jud. You're gonna be paired.
No,
no,
like,
no.
It's free for all. Like whoever like the strongest wins.
Like for
Mm.
example, this guy deadlifts 280,
Mm-mm.
and one more guy lifts 282. Then
Mm.
the other guy 285,
Mm.
300. So whoever has
Whoever-
the heaviest lift wins.
For
Total,
that category.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
that category.
For example, deadlift, the heaviest deadlift. There's a medal for each lift.
Okay. And then there's overall.
Yeah,
Yeah, overall.
overall.
So let's say, so 40.
40.
40.
So how does that work? Like, that's a lot
It's
of
divided
people.
by groups.
Group A, Group B, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Platform 1, platform 2. There's like 3
Yeah.
platforms.
So that's accumulate. So what is the defining score? So it's the total amount of weight
Yeah, you lifted.
you lifted. So that determines who the champion
The
is.
overall champion.
Overall champion. Okay. So guys, if you're interested in competing, just give you an example of what the competition is like. In terms of the weights, like, what's your like preparation phase? Do you have any like routine, or
You need to be physically and mentally ready.
Physically and mentally ready.
It's like mobility warm ups. It's like going into the gym.
Okay.
Basically, you're just going to the gym.
Mm,
Yeah. So before you work out, do stretches, mobility,
mm,
then ascending sets, like warm up with lighter
Yeah.
weight, then it's heavier.
mm.
Then for each lift, there's like a timer
Yeah.
for you to lift the weight, like 1 minute to lift the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's 1 minute. So that's the competition phase. Now, for other athletes, no, like for example, me, I do MMA. There's a basketball player. All other athletes. Do you think powerlifting offers an advantage to these athletes? Let's say ako, no, like me, I do MMA. Do you think that me doing some powerlifting exercises can benefit me
Yes.
in terms of
for
my
sure.
sport?
For sure.
Mm.
Like for example, grappling. I think grappling.
Yeah,
If
grappling.
you're
for
a
sure.
skilled grappler and plus if you have the strength,
Mm.
you will actually have the advantage.
Mm,
Like for example, basketball player.
yeah,
If you have stronger legs, you can jump higher.
true.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, stronger legs and more explosive legs. Sprinters also do like
Sprinters, yeah.
power movements.
Yeah, but it also depends on the sport, right?
Yeah.
Because from what I've also learned, because before my mindset was, I did football also before. My mindset was, okay, if I want to be better at football, I have to lift heavier.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then I did lift heavier. There was really a bigger difference, but in terms of my skill as a footballer, uh, medyo not that good.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's really finding the perfect balance, no,
Yeah.
to help letting powerlifting supplement your
Main.
main sport,
Yeah.
right?
Like for example, NFL.
Yeah,
Right?
of course,
Mm.
NFL.
They need powerlifting because they need to be strong
Yeah, that's true.
Pushing.
in their sport.
Yeah, that's true. So if you guys are interested in learning powerlifting, you can message the brothers on Instagram. So I'll tag their social medias on the video below, but you can just give out also
So
your.
feel free to contact us at our Instagram. My Instagram is Ryant Relos, and
Maki the grappler.
or you can message our powerlifting page, Cebu United Powerlifting.
Yeah,
for
we actually have a Instagram
coaching.
page, Cebu Powerlifting.
So yeah, again, message them. They're gonna give you advice. They're gonna coach you if you're interested in learning powerlifting. Thank you so much, guys,
Thank
for
you.
coming. Really
Thank you, bro.
appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.